Chapter 5. Pick up the phone. Misconceptions about credit cards are like not eating your vegetables. You get a real hard lesson in the end. Sorry about the visual. For real. The misconceptions that exist derive from a lack of understanding how and what can be done to build credit. The assumption exists that you can build your credit with a credit card. This is true, but the unfortunate thing is when you come from a family where the parents are too old school to understand credit cards or they are in debt, then what is taught is credit cards equals free money. And as absurd as this sounds, it's the truth. The idea of being able to make a purchase of something that you can't afford and only pay $12 minimum per month is too good to handle and pass up. What happens is eventually the credit card holder finds themselves up to their ears in debt without a way to recover. This is not a section meant to belittle anyone. We had almost $45,000 in credit card debt. Add this to the $110,000 in school loans, and you have the cost of our home here in Memphis. Now, like I said, this is an older book, so our home is now valued at a lot more. But that's not the point. The amount of debt we had was worth a house. So how do you overcome this debt? And what are the misconceptions about credit cards? Here are the misconceptions. 1, you need a credit card to establish credit. That's false. You can establish credit by purchasing an item that you will really need, like a car to get back and forth to your job. Paying off a car is a great way to establish credit. I honestly think that there is not a person alive who can withstand the power of a credit card limit. The easiest thing to do to prevent getting in debt is get one credit card. Never go over half of the credit limit. Pay it down or off when you use it. Keep the account open. Why do you need a card? You may have to rent a car or use it for a reservation. And unfortunately, some places will only accept a card number or a credit card number. Now, that's changing because the Visa checking card that's given to you by your bank is allowing you to actually reserve some things with a Visa checking card that's for your account. But you don't need a credit card to establish credit. You can use a car purchase. And that's something that you'll need to get back and forth to work. If this was written in 2017, I would also say that you may beat your car into the ground, but if you ever find yourself struggling and out of work, you can turn on the Lyft app and start driving. I drove Lyft for an entire year in 2017. That doesn't show up in these books. And I really need to do a completely different breakout video. But I have a series here on YouTube where you can look at what I call the Car Chronicles, where I talked for an entire year while I was before I pick people up and before I drop them off. But that's diversion. I'm moving away from the book. Let's get back to the book and get back to the fact that you don't need a credit card to establish credit. You can get something as simple as a car. But if you do get a credit card, pay it off every month. All right? The next one for misconceptions about credit cards. 2, a credit card can help you in financially rough times. That's false. Our one credit card became 2 when we looked to use our cash advances to pay for another bill. It seemed like a good idea, but financing debt with debt equals one big hole to dig out of. If you cannot pay your bills, you can talk with your creditors. Remember that. I don't know if I put it in this book or not, but you can literally move payments for your car to the end of the loan if you're struggling during a certain time period, but do not avoid talking to your creditor. Here's the third misconception. Good credit is made by having a lot of accounts open and active. That's both true and false. Yes, you can establish credit and it will be good if you have active accounts and they are all under half of the amount or 0 and the account is active. However, the more cards you have, the more minimum payments you have. And if you have if you've ever tried to carry a lot of small grocery bags from your car, then you know that those small bags get heavy real quick. Here's what you have to do. Change your mentality about debt and credit cards. And that will help you to begin build towards this 1 hour to wealth, right? Which we haven't gotten to, but we're getting there. In summary, removing the culture of debt that exists in your family is the biggest step. Going back through all of these chapters right now just to go back through them. There's something that the visualization and self-empowerment DVDs and videos have right. If you think and feel broke, you will remain broke. I gotta admit, those self-visualizations, that stuff is real. It's real. Removing the culture of debt is as simple as telling yourself to not use a credit card for a purchase. It is as simple as sitting down with the family for an hour. And this is what 1 hour to wealth is really about. Take these hours and do something towards becoming better and empowered. It's as simple as sitting down with the family for an hour and discussing finances in a mature and understandable manner. Removing the culture of debt allows you to actually begin work on a plan that will allow you to find solutions. Now, the real secret about credit card debt and credit counseling is this. And this is for those of you who are now going through the process of possibly pondering bankruptcy and things like that. And I am not an accredited counselor, financial counselor. Please do not think that. I'm simply giving you my story and explaining to you my path. You don't need credit card counseling unless you are completely incapable of being personable and respectful in a phone conversation. This is what credit card counselors and financial advisors don't want us poor people to know, is that once you have built up this big mess of debt, that there is a way out, right? Everybody, it's extremely intimidating to have debt. Extremely intimidating. Here's a scenario, right? You don't think there's a way out of it, but let's say you've been avoiding phone calls from the bill collectors, and you got caller ID, and it's the best thing in the world, isn't it? It helps you to see who's calling. Well, here's a simple thing to do. Stop avoiding the phone call. You know you can't pay your bills. It's not your fault in some instances. Sometimes it is as simple as just falling behind. Well, if you call a credit counselor, then the credit counselor will take a portion of your funds and set up bill payments with your creditors. You will, of course, pay a small fee for these negotiations, and miraculously, your debt will disappear in 5 years. But this is the part that no one wants you to know. You can talk to your creditors. You can talk to your creditors. You can talk to them yourself. All right. When a bill goes to collections and those inquiries, those letters start showing up on your credit, it's a good thing. Why, you ask? Is it a good thing? Because it tells you that you're at rock bottom. There aren't any more credit cards that you can use. There isn't any more money that you can spend or that can be spent. You are tapped out. The keg is empty. Why is this good? Because now you don't have any other recourse but to face up to your problems. And I'm not saying get to that point, but you have no other recourse but to face up to your problems. The first step is to pick up the phone. The collections departments are not there to haze or abuse you. It can feel like it. It can feel like it. All they want is their money, which is rightfully theirs. Although they knew damn well you didn't need a credit limit increase. But they want to help you because they want their money. These are the things that you can do to begin the removal of debt. And I'm going right back to the first part. Answer the phone. Once you answer the phone, have a notepad ready on your computer desktop or just a regular notepad. Write down your account number and listen to what the creditor has to say. 2. Naturally, the creditor will want as much money as they can get, but you can make a counter offer. You can let the creditor know that you are unable to pay the amount requested, but you want to try and make a payment. Ask them, what is the smallest amount I can pay? They will give you an amount. Once you have this amount, ask the creditor about a payment plan or a settlement. Payment plan or settlement. Most credit card companies will allow you to set up a payment plan that is similar to a car note. You will be able to pay a smaller monthly payment that goes directly to the principal, and they will close the account. This does hurt your credit, but your goal is to get out of debt. 4, if you have a large sum of money, then you can ask the creditor for a settlement. Now, I'm not saying you let someone know you have a large sum of money. I'm just saying if you have a large sum of money, you can go back and get settlements on all those accounts. A settlement has to be approved, but typically a creditor will allow you to pay between 50 and 75% of what your total balance is in one payment or 3 payments. It varies. There's no science to this part, but it varies. Basically, let's say you owe $10,000 on a credit card. If you're doing a settlement with that company, you will only have to pay $5,000 to $7,500 to get rid of the debt. Now, it does stay on your record as a settlement, and that account is closed, and that hurts your credit. But after 2 to 3 years, things start looking up again. Now, and I'm saying all of this assuming that you have, $5,000 to $7,500 laying around. Nobody does. All right, so that's really nutty. I'll move on. No one really has that kind of money, but this information is still important to know because if you can set up a settlement and a payment plan for settlement, you can establish those payment plans across the board for all of your debts. All right, let's jump to 5. Forbearances actually exist for more than school loans. This is about me now. And like I said, I'm going to make myself a part of a lot of this. We had a car that we fell 3 months behind on because I quit a full-time position and didn't get a check for 6 months. We had been avoiding phone calls and not returning calls from the auto finance company. I finally picked up the phone after saying, man, forget this. I said something else, but that's what I said. I spoke with the creditor and told them that I was unable to pay the note. They actually took the time to inform me of a way to move the 3 months to the end. Remember, I just said this, of the loan if I could pay the current month's note. I was able to pay the current month's note, and it brought my account current, and it stopped the phone calls. Now, of course, this doesn't make things better, but for the moment, I could breathe. 6. All right, so you're not in credit card debt, but your home is about to go into foreclosure. What do? The typical thing would be to live in it until it is sold or you are kicked out. The smart thing to do is contact your lender. The lender does not want you to lose the home. They can work with you on modifying your contract. Now, you have some lenders that want you to lose the home, and that's just the way it is. Everything is not, in totality. It's not all the same. But your lender can work with you on modifying your contract. That's the important part to think about here or listen to. This does not mean refinancing the home necessarily. What it means is, and what it takes is you contacting the lender and asking them for alternatives, which they will do for you. They can literally take the months that you missed and place you on a different payment plan. If you complete it, they will reinstate your loan. Now, obviously, that's a last straw, but the option is there. Modifying your loan is powerful. It helps, and they will do it more than once. In tough housing economies, this is important to know. All right? Modify. The worst thing you can do when you are in debt is not answer the phone.